Ever since the release of Black Myth Wukong, it feels like we've been just constantly seeing games coming out of China, which to be quite honest is a bit of a surprise, but at the same time, a welcome change. And safe to say, we're going to be talking about another one today. What is up everyone, it's your boy Lanzeral back with another video, and in today's video we're going to be checking out a trailer for a newly announced action RPG called Swords of Legend. Now Swords of Legend is being developed by Oregon Shanghai Studio, and even though yes this is a brand new game, the series itself has actually been around for a while. However, it's known by a different name in China, which is GuJian. Apparently this is going to be the fourth entry into the series, so while us on the West are going to be calling it Swords of Legend, everyone else is going to be calling this GuJian 4. And with the last entry, GuJian 3, coming out back in 2018, that was primarily an action RPG with a beautiful world and decent combat, and for all intents and purposes felt a little more reminiscent to Final Fantasy. However, it seems like with Swords of Legend, the gameplay might actually be making a bit of a change, with a lot of what I've been seeing online with people calling it more of a Souls-like or comparing it to Black Myth Wukong. So honestly, without further ado, let's go ahead and check this trailer out together.
Millions of souls pour into the underworld every day.
But mind you, there are two trailers for this, but I believe they're both the same. One was released a few days ago, and then one was released today at Gamescom, which is probably this one, which is the English trailer.
Walk the mortal world once more. Fallen leaves return to their roots. You shall gather the souls that stray.
I've watched over this city for ages, and every name in your scroll of death. Not one of them dies quietly.
Oh.
You, a soulless husk. You can judge my fate. I wrestle rogues.
I mean, that combat, as brief as that was, definitely feels a bit more. Okay. With the amount of fantastical abilities I've seen already, I'm more inclined to lean on Black Myth Wukong. But something about his design is reminding me of Onimusha too. Gary. Ooh. Yep.
What?
I pray for the voice acting to be better in English later on.
The living cast their dead to play. And sacrifice.
How does it look like the fucking like before Emperor Radon? You know, General Radon.
Here we go again.
Yeah. I'm less inclined to compare this to a Souls-like. Now, granted, what the hell do we call Wukong now? I mean, I guess action RPGs, honestly.
If you know not life, how can you know death?
And that was it for the trailer. Now, if there's one thing that these Chinese devs seem to understand is that folks on the Western side really love themselves some pretty graphics. Because the first thing you're obviously going to tell us that with the in-game combat for Swords of Legend, the game already looks gorgeous. And whenever the game that has either come out or been announced by some Chinese studio, they all look incredible. But now let's talk a little bit more about the world of Swords of Legend, or GuJian in this case. Again, this series has been around for a very long time, but I believe folks in the West only really get interaction with two of their prior games. One being Swords of Legend Online, which is an MMO, and then the other being the aforementioned GuJian 3, which never officially got an English dub. However, it was ported to Steam instead with English subtitles, but from what I understood, even then the English subtitles were prone to a lot of mistakes. When it came down to the gameplay aspect, those games were always known for having pretty good combat and world design overall. And it looks like that's being brought forward with Swords of Legend, where the combat in this case now is a little bit more grounded, probably a little more akin to a Souls-like, or maybe something a little bit more like the Black Myth Wukong that we've had recently, where not only do you have weapons at your disposal, but you also have a slew of fantastical abilities. With one of the items that we saw in the trailer being that giant fan that hovers over your enemies and pretty much just bombards them with flaming skulls. boss. And it also looks like there's going to be a capture ability. I want to say once again, similar to Black Myth Wukong, where you're actually able to capture the spirits of certain enemies. And it looks like in this game, something similar is going to be employed. You notice in one of the scenes, he looked like he captured a human enemy and he placed him into a talisman. And later on in one of the boss fights that they showcased, he ended up summoning 2 allies to fight alongside him using those same talismans. Now in Black Myth Wukong's case, you transform into the things that you essentially capture. Except in this game, you're actually going to be able to fight alongside you, which I personally think I prefer just a little bit more. And finally, let's talk about some of those boss designs, because the game actually showcased quite a number of bosses. I believe I ended up counting about 6 or 7 of them in this one trailer. And a lot of the bosses look incredible. We had the beautiful enchantress turn into a creepy raid, and then we had a boss who, let's be quite honest, if you played Elden Ring, tell me that he didn't remind you of General Radahn in the slightest, because that's all I could think about. Now I can only wonder, is he going to be even nearly as devastating as General Radahn? To be quite honest, I hope not. But that's all the information we have so far for Swords of Legend. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are in the comments below from everything that we saw in today's trailer. Are you excited for what could potentially be another hardcore game, or are you finally getting burnt out on them? Granted, I feel like we've been getting quite a number of these lately, but at the same time, I'm not quite there yet. At least I want to say that with Swords of Legend, it's leaning a little bit more on the Black Myth Wukong side, which isn't nearly as punishing as a Souls game, or Wu-Chang Fallen Feathers in this case, because I've been playing that, and that game is very unforgiving. But I'd love to hear from all of you in the comments below. If you like this video, make sure you hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel if you love what we do when it comes to video game news and reviews. And turn on that notification bell so you never miss when a new video drops. All right, y'all, that is it for me. I hope you guys have a fantastic day, and I will catch you all later. Peace.